Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. Our top story today, every East Coast state from Maine to the south is under some type of winter storm watch or warning. And meteorologists expect it to stay that way for the rest of the week. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has the latest.
A monster storm marching up the East Coast.
It's just ice. We are on top of ice.
And the so-called winter bomb cyclone creating a mess for anyone trying to get anywhere, including this scene from the morning commute in South Jersey. A truck losing control, flying off the road and bursting into flames. The woods and a nearby home also catching fire.
We got a derailment.
Overnight, Amtrak saying frozen switches on the rail line may be responsible for this train derailment in Savannah, Georgia.
Nearly 300 passengers on board.
No one was hurt, and the passengers eventually put on a different train and sent home.
We're trying to pull up normally, but the switch was frozen, and after like an hour of trying to defrost it, they gave up.
This morning, Georgia and Virginia, picturesque in parts, but some areas still under states of emergency, with officials warning this is a dangerous storm.
It's just going to get worse as the snow keeps falling.
The storm already breaking records in parts of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina with their heaviest snowfall in nearly 30 years, crippling air travel across the country and causing spinouts and car wrecks on the highways.
We just slid off the road. Drive with caution, take your time.
Just slow down, slow down.
Well, here in New York, the governor says they have done everything they can to prepare for this, but because the conditions are expected to get worse before they get better, he's just asking everyone to stay home. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, Riverhead, New York.
Suncoast is under a severe cold weather warning issued by the Florida Department of Health. Sarasota and Manatee officials are now advising residents to take extreme cold precautions. The warning is in effect for tonight and tomorrow night as temperatures are expected to dip into the 30s. Manatee County health officials say the biggest threat of the cold weather, hypothermia, and residents should take precautions, which is to stay inside as much as you can, especially when overnight hours when temperatures are the lowest. And many areas hit the 30s last night, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We even had, looking at some independent weather stations near Myakka, many places were in the 20s.
Wow.
We had 27 degrees in multiple locations. And Becky in Myakka, who's traditionally a lower temperature,
Yeah.
but her thermometer has been verified with other thermometers, and she came in with 24 degrees.
Wow.
That's what she reported, and had a half an inch of ice in her backyard from recent rains.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. Most people saw temperatures that were hovering around the 35-degree mark,
Yeah.
36-degree mark, just above the freezing. Tonight, I think we might even be a little bit cooler. It might be just a tad bit cooler. So if you're worried about your plants, you may want to cover those. You may want to bring those pots inside, particularly the pots, because they are the most susceptible to freeze damage. And we certainly could see some freezing temperatures, especially from the interstate inward, where there is a freeze warning in effect for tonight. 28 to 32 degree temperatures expected for 2 hours or better. Temperatures across the region kind of rebounding nicely with a little bit of sunshine, but still on the cool side for the day, similar to yesterday. We'll top it out in the mid-50s. 48 degrees or so in inland areas, 50, 53 along the coastline around that temperature. We had a little bit of cloud cover overnight, but we also had some quiet winds too, which helped to let the temperatures fall off a little more. And I think that'll be the case again tomorrow morning. We'll have some pretty quiet winds and fairly clear skies, which will allow for those cold overnight temperatures to develop fairly quickly, and then, freezing just a couple hours before dawn in many locations. We'll go with 57 by 3 o'clock this afternoon under mostly sunny conditions. That's it. And then tonight at 6 p.m., we'll start to see those temperatures falling off pretty quickly. 50 by 6, and then by 9, 47 degrees. Complete forecast details coming up in a minute, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. The cold temperatures have shelters packed to capacity. The Manatee County Salvation Army had to turn people away earlier this week. The shelter holds 150 people, but Monday night it took 10 more people than its capacity. Tuesday it turned people away, 5 of them, but those people were given sweaters and blankets to keep warm. Those who need shelter from the cold are advised to arrive early. The Salvation Army in Sarasota is also waiving admission fees as long as the cold weather continues. Severe winter weather across the country also impacting travelers, including many here on the Suncoast. ABC 7's Marla Spence joins us live from the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, where a few flights are canceled due to the weather. Marla?
Scott, that's right. You know, a number of flights are canceled right here at SRQ, and the reason is the harsh winter weather across the country. Now, a number of flights from airlines like Elite, First United, and JetBlue are canceled. Many of those flights are going into cities like New York, Newark, Boston, and Portland. Now, harsh weather conditions are impacting flights departing and arriving into SRQ. The airport's president and CEO, Rick Piccolo, says it could take at least a day for those travelers to go into the Northeast. He says a number of travelers here on the Sun Coast are also being impacted.
Oh, I think when you look at the number of flights that will be canceled, it'll be a few thousand people that will be impacted, both from the incoming as well as those that were looking to go back home.
Now, a number of flights out of the Tampa International Airport are also canceled this afternoon. Piccolo says after the winter weather across the states have subsided, that the SRQ airport could still see the effects of cancellations for weeks. Now, another group of people other than travelers that's being impacted by this winter weather are Uber drivers this afternoon. I spoke to one, and he says the cancellations are really impacting his pockets. Back to you, Scott.
All right, Marla, thank you so much for that report. The search is on in Northport after an attempted robbery at the George Mullen Activity Center yesterday. A city staff member was inside when a man threatened him and demanded money. The suspect pulled out a handgun before leaving, but no one was hurt. Northport police are now reviewing surveillance video, hoping it will lead to an arrest. Florida Power & Light is holding off on billing customers for the cost of restoring electricity after Hurricane Irma. The news comes after the power company announced back in October that it was expecting to collect about $1 billion from its customers. Sarasota Herald Tribune reporting the company is not moving forward with those plans yet because they're still studying the implications of the federal tax bill signed into law last month. For now, people will not see any cost related to Irma on their bills until at least after March. Now, the cold weather will also be having an impact on our wildlife. You just saw some of that video. A charter captain's depth finder showed water temperatures yesterday dipping into the low to mid-50s. If this continues over the next few days, it could be devastating for the fish and manatees that call these waters home. Once water temperatures hit below 60 degrees, it starts to become debilitating for many fish species, including subtropical fish and snook. When water temperatures fall below 50 degrees, that's when it can become deadly.
They slow down, which then they can't get their gill rakers and get the oxygen they need to get. They actually, in some areas, it actually gets cold enough that they just can't move enough to get the water going over their gills, and they suffocate.
Captain Moore says the last time we had cold weather stretch like this on the Sun Coast was back in 2010. That cold snap killed tens of thousands of fish, but it was colder than the one we're experiencing right now. 80 sea turtles are safe thanks to a marine institute in Panama City Beach. The Gulf World Marine Institute says when water temperatures drop below 50 degrees, sea turtles can become shocked by the cold. Rescue groups are currently searching for cold-stunned sea turtles up north, and when they're done, they estimate they could save about 300 of them. Veterinary staff are examining them, and they're being placed in warmer water, and they expect to tag and release the majority of these turtles into the Gulf of Mexico's warmer waters as early as next week. Still to come in your Suncoast News, the last person you thought would kick the habit is saying it is his New Year's resolution, why the maker of Marlboro cigarettes is trying to quit smoking. And President Trump feuding with his former chief strategist Steve Bannon, what sparked a letter from Trump's lawyers when we come back.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
My name is Stefan Campagna. We're Bang Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in an accident, whether or not it's your fault, your insurance company might be responsible for some of your expenses. So give us a call. We've got your back.
Sarasota Institute of Lifetime Learning begins its 47th season on Monday, January 8th in Sarasota, Venice, and Lakewood Ranch. Meet Warren Jones, pianist to the world's best-known stars on Monday, January 15th, and Chris Hill, career diplomat and four-time ambassador on Tuesday, January 16th. 72 global issues lectures by renowned experts, 24 musical conversations with great performers. Subscriptions available now. Single event tickets at the door. For more information and to purchase season tickets, visit SILLSarasota.org.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard serve to give back to their country and communities. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for an array of benefits, such as affordable health and life insurance benefits, education benefits, including tuition assistance, student loan repayment and GI Bill programs, a retirement plan based on part-time service, and VA home mortgages. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about all the benefits available in the Army National Guard.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on MySuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC 7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at MySuncoast.com/dining. Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So well below average temperatures, not unusual. I mean, we do, get a couple of days, even a week of some really cold weather at times during the winter season, and oftentimes we will hit the freezing mark on occasion for a couple of days. But certainly, we're not looking at weeks and weeks and weeks of this. So don't get me wrong. We're still looking at a warmer than average winter season, and I think that is going to definitely play out. In fact, as early as perhaps Sunday, we'll start to warm back up to an average temperature, and then maybe even just a little above average as we head into the beginning of next week. And that's the way it looks for the next probably week and a half, 2 weeks. So take heart. Just 2 more cold nights, and then we'll start to warm up a little bit. 53 the air temperature now. In fact, that's even a little bit warmer than we were 24 hours ago. Dew point is at 36, so still some very dry air in place. And with that dry air in place, of course, the temperatures drop off pretty quickly after the sun sets. Got a little bit of fair weather cloudiness about, and a north-northwest wind coming in at 10. With that wind a little bit out of the west, that's how we get the cloud cover. But still, the temperatures are responding, I think, appropriately at night. We'll have some fairly clear skies and some fairly light winds, so that'll allow temperatures to drop off pretty quickly as well. There's still some very dry air to the north. Again, these are dew point temperatures. Dew point, not actual air temperatures. It's a measure of how much moisture is in the air. Lower the dew point, the drier the air. And you've got some very dry air up to the north. That dry air, pushed by a northwest wind, will continue to reinforce the dry air that's in place over us. Now, there is a little bit of a westerly component, so it does come over the waters at the Gulf a little bit, but I think as we progress through time, we'll see more of a northerly flow. And that will, maybe shut off a little bit of that moisture supply and maybe reduce the cloud cover that we have a little bit as we head into the overnight. Temperatures from 24 hours ago are a little bit warmer at this hour. However, this morning, in many locations, especially well inland around Sebring or such, they were as much as 20 degrees cooler than they were 24 hours ago. And I think tonight we'll see temperatures at about the same level that we were this morning, or maybe even just a little teeny bit cooler. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think we shouldn't be surprised at all to see many temperatures at or below freezing tonight. Titan radar not showing a drop of rain despite the little bit of cloud cover that we have. Again, the cloud cover coming in off the Gulf waters. Off the Atlantic, an area of low pressure there, moving off to the north into the east, producing really major snows up in the northeast. Now, that center of that low pressure area has just dropped an amazing amount over 24 hours, almost, I think it was 32 millibars. I mean, just a tremendous amount. Justly named a meteorological bomb, this storm. If you drop 24 millibars in 24 hours, you're called a bomb. So this one well exceeds the criteria for being designated as such. And it's a little bit closer to shore, so this snow swath is a little bit greater. Now, we also have some colder air back to the west, and that's going to sink southward. High pressure builds in behind it and directs our winds out of the north tonight. So again, that allows us that cold air drainage that's going to provide us with another chilly night. 2 more of them, in fact. Freeze warning for tonight from interstate eastward, and then warmer temperatures coming our way on Sunday. Show you those in a second. Northwest wind at about 15 knots through the afternoon, and the extended range forecast looks like this. 2 mild but cool afternoons with lots of sunshine but very cold nights, followed by a warm up during the day over the weekend, no rain. And then as we head through the beginning of next week, we'll factor in slight chances of rain, but we stay at about average for our temperatures. Back to you, Scott.
Average sounds good. All right, thank you, John. According to the American Red Cross, there are about 7 million blood donors in the United States each year. And if you're considering becoming a donor, Reed Binion has some important information to consider.
Start your new year off by doing a good deed. Consider donating blood. The American Red Cross says someone in the U.S. needs blood every 2 seconds. The American Red Cross is in critical need of O negative, which is considered a universal donor, and B negative because it is so rare. Consider these factors when determining if you are an eligible donor, whether you're in good general health. You have to be at least 17 years old in most states and 16 in others with parental consent. And you have to weigh at least 110 pounds. If you are taking medication, that will not disqualify you as a blood donor in most cases, according to the Red Cross. However, the reason that you are taking the medication might. A short health history and physical evaluation at the donor center or blood drive will determine that. The process for general donations takes about 8 to 10 minutes and can save a life. For today's Health Minute, I'm Reed Binion.
The maker of Marlboro cigarettes says his New Year's resolution is to give up smoking. Philip Morris International launching a new campaign that encourages smokers to kick the habit. This is the latest move as the company works to develop smoke-free alternatives like e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products. It also created a new website called Smoke Free Future that has information about quitting. Philip Morris International sells Marlboro cigarettes in the UK. The US version is sold by a separate company, but this campaign synchronizes with England's plan to reduce the number of people who smoke. Well, out with the old and in with the new. A new year is a great time to clean out the refrigerator and freezer, right? Check all of the use by and expiration dates on your dairy products and eggs, and it may be time to let go of that old block of cheese and chips or veggie dip as well. Some condiments can even become contaminated with bacteria, even if the product says they're good for up to 6 months in the refrigerator. Same goes for the freezer. That pint of ice cream you've been meaning to get to can go bad after a while. Time now to head over to our kitchen and say hello to ABC 7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher. Judy?
You know, I love fresh pasta, so going down to the Saturday's Farmers Market is a great stop for me because they have pepperonata pasta. Now, they also have a brick and mortar store behind Chili's in that shopping center, so you can get more of their great pastas. So many restaurants locally are using their pasta. It's a really great bite, and quite frankly, for all that work to make it homemade yourself, I can spend more time with my family and serving others. So I bought some great pasta, the curly type. Really anything will do. What I love about this is because we're going to be using truffles, truffle oil, truffle butter, and I'm going to show you those in the next segment. But we're going to bring a really simple pasta dish, something that they serve in Italy. They don't compose it with 50 different ingredients. We're going to use a couple different truffle products with it, toss it in with some peas, some mint, some arugula, and we are ready to serve a great pasta. So stay with me. I'm coming right back to cook for you.
You can do something about a crime, any crime, and you can receive a reward of up to $3,000 cash. Call Crime Stoppers with information about criminal activity, unsolved crimes, drug dealers, fugitive criminals, stolen property, illegal weapons. Call 366-TIPS. You will remain anonymous. Visit SarasotaCrimeStoppers.com. Download the Crime Stoppers P3 mobile app from the Apple iTunes Store or Google Play. Call Crime Stoppers 366-TIPS. Paid for by the Attorney General's Office, Crime Stoppers Trust Fund.
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke is a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. So wet.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC7, weekdays starting at 5.
A Milwaukee County bus driver delivers help to a woman about to deliver a baby. As Terry Sater explains, it was Christmas Eve when the driver spotted a desperate pregnant woman along the side of the road who needed help.
I was driving normal, watching everything around me, and then a lady waved, and I seen, and I stopped for her.
This is county bus video from that Christmas Eve day. A few minutes past 10 in the morning, Milwaukee County Transit System driver Tayetta Curran turned into a Christmas angel. She stopped for a pregnant woman signaling she needed help.
She told me she was going into labor, and I just immediately got out of my chair and helped her.
It was a cold, wintry morning on Wisconsin Avenue in Wauwatosa.
Horrible, just snowing and wet.
Tayetta has 2 sons and speaks from experience.
What did she describe for you in terms of what she was feeling?
Nothing. She was crying and in pain.
For a moment, Tayetta thought about turning her bus into an ambulance.
I thought about it. I did. I said, we can't go. We're going to wait. We're going to stay right here because I was not too far from the hospital.
She called 911.
This is where Tayetta stopped for the pregnant woman on Wisconsin Avenue in Wauwatosa. Fire paramedics responded and say they transported the woman to the hospital in stable condition.
Tayetta never learned the mother's name and doesn't know if she had the baby. So she has a message of blessing.
Well, I hope everything is okay, and you reach out to us and let us know what's going on with you and the baby. I need that 27.
Tayetta, the Gold Line driver with a heart of gold.
As Terry Sater reporting, according to officials there, the mother still has not been located. Time now to get back to the kitchen and check in again with ABC7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher.
Okay, let's start out by using olive oil, and I'm going to get to all the truffle products in just a minute. I have some cremini mushrooms at home. Put them in, baby bellas, whatever you want to do. Shiitakes probably won't hold up the same, and you don't need the cost on that, but we're going to go ahead and just saute this a little bit. This is taking the flavors of simple ingredients is what it's all about, because I want the pasta and the truffle flavor to stand out. So we're going to saute this just for a little bit. Oh, probably about 3-4 minutes till it starts to get tender. I had a zucchini left at home. Boom, it's going to go in. The colors of the green mixing with the pasta make it feel like a really bright dish. It's a substantial dish, but it doesn't have cream. So let's talk about different flavors that you can use for truffle. I always have one of these little guys in my freezer, my refrigerator. It is truffle butter. So they usually have it year-round over at the Fresh Market, but I keep one in the freezer, double sealed, so I put it in plastic as well, and it just is perfect for like truffle mashed potatoes around the holidays, or just making a pasta dish like this. About a tablespoon. They have both white and black truffle butter, so either one is going to work. also a little container of truffle oil. Now remember, truffle oil needs to go in your refrigerator once it's opened, and then just let it sit on the counter for about a half an hour before you can use it. And you can find the truffle paste in most grocery high-end markets, or if one of your friends goes to Italy, this is always one of my recommendations. So we'll touch this up with that paste in a little bit. The truffle oil, I don't like things like truffle oil on potatoes. I'd rather use truffle salt, and that's available at the Spice and Tea Exchange. But all these other items, like I said, I could pick them up over at the Fresh Market. So this is starting to saute really well. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to add a little chicken stock. You can certainly keep this as a vegetarian dish by adding vegetable stock. It's going to work fine. Now, along with this dish, of course, I'll serve a little salad, but a great appetizer, and it keeps me from not having to get tied up in the kitchen again, is to buy the Rotolo. It's similar to like a calzone, and Peperonata Pasta sells it, and they have spinach and cheese, which I've baked off today, and pepperoni. So those are going to be some great choices. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some frozen peas, still frozen, okay, just about a cup's worth. You can use fresh peas when they're in season. Now when I come back, we're going to finish the pasta dish, definitely tuck into that little truffle paste and bring it all together for a beautiful, flavorful, and not too heavy a dish.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard live up to a set of time-honored principles.
I will always place the mission first.
They stand ready to respond to any crisis.
I will never accept defeat.
They serve in their communities as citizens and as soldiers.
I will never quit.
They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Learn more at nationalguard.com.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Rose takes her volunteering for Tidewell Hospice very seriously. But she knows how to have fun, too. And that's what she brings when we're invited to visit patients as part of Tidewell's pet therapy program. People love to see her. She really brightens their day. She makes people smile. And in end-of-life care, a smile can be a wonderful gift. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Live from our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. Cold temperatures continue to grip the Suncoast, but meteorologist John Scalzi joined us, and I think we need some perspective here.
Don't you think?
Yes.
We have that in the form of a shot from Times Square, New York. Now, if you have never been in snow, you probably think, oh, how romantic. That looks wonderful. That would be just so much fun. And it is for about 45 minutes. Then
you're wet and cold.
And then your feet get wet. It's cold and slushy, and it's hard to get around. And come Monday, when that stuff starts to melt a little bit, oh, it is a sloppy mess. But for the time being, anyway, it at least slows the pace of life a little bit in New York City. Now, contrast that with our own tower cam. Take a look at that as I put it into motion. Jump to tower cam on WSI, and you'll see a little bit of cloud cover out there, but really that's about it. No precipitation today, which is nice, and a lot of sunshine out there as well. That is helping to boost our temperatures solidly into the 50s today, and while that is still well below average, it still feels pretty nice. Freeze warning for tonight, though, so it will be another cool one, especially as those winds start to shift around and our temperatures begin to drop and the cloud cover becomes less widespread. 50 degrees currently or thereabouts, a little cooler in inland areas. We'll top it out about 57 or so, and then tonight, another cold one. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. Florida's unusually cold weather is not good news for many of the state's citrus growers. They're doing whatever they can to protect their crops from freezing. Hurricane Irma, of course, thinned out about 30% of the groves in the face of higher demand for Florida's fruit. So this crop is considered very valuable. The temperatures are even endangering next year's crops.
There's an increased demand globally. We've got a decrease in supply because of hurricanes. It is by far the most valuable crop. That's without a freeze.
If freezing temperatures take hold, each tree will be watered continuously until the air warms up. That will protect what's here for now, and so the trees can grow fruit next year as well. Power outages have been reported across the state because of the weather as well. At the highest point yesterday, Clay Electric in North Florida had about 5,000 customers without power in North and Central Florida. Floridians having some mixed feelings about the weather. Some are welcoming it, but others thought they were escaping it when they came to the Sunshine State.
I just left Kansas and Missouri for the cold spell, and I was making fun of my mom about I get to go to Florida, as you see, so I had to call and eat crow this morning.
And Tallahassee got its first measurable snowfall since 1989, nearly 30 years ago. Major power outages are also reported in Orlando because of the high winds there yesterday. An 11-year-old girl was killed in Central Florida trying to cross railroad tracks when she was hit by an Amtrak passenger train. The train's conductor says Yasmin White was wearing headphones and looking down at her phone as the train approached. The conductor tried blowing the horn several times to try to get the girl's attention, but she did not hear anything. White was later declared dead at the scene. So far, authorities do not plan on charging the train's conductor. Happening across the Bay Area, we have an update on the 2 people shot and killed by security guards outside of a Tampa teen nightclub Monday night. Those guards fired the shots after they heard shots from a car, feared for their lives, and returned fire. Hillsborough County Sheriff's deputies say they found weapons in the car in which the victims were shot. It happened outside of a storage building that was rented out for this particular event. That party ended early due to fights inside the building. The 2 victims are a 25-year-old man and a 15-year-old girl. A Pinellas County Sheriff's deputy is being called a hero after rescuing a woman seconds before she tried to jump from the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. Deputy Damon Laney was driving off duty, and he noticed a car stopped in the northbound lanes of the bridge with its hazard lights on. A woman then got out of her car and ran towards the barrier wall of the bridge as he pulled up. Deputy Laney quickly used his car to block her in between his bumper and the barrier wall, just as the woman was trying to jump over. The woman told deputies she was upset over personal issues and was later put into protective custody. A Tampa Bay Buccaneers player is facing possession of marijuana charges. Safety TJ Ward was arrested by Tampa police for having nearly 100 grams of marijuana. According to NFL.com, Tampa police discovered the drugs and paraphernalia after he called them about a home invasion in October. He then failed to appear in court and was arrested this week. Ward was released yesterday on a $2,500 bond. Remember, for the latest on local and breaking news, you need to download the updated version of our news app. iPhone users will need to go to the App Store and re-download that app. by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. In Washington, the White House is still reeling from those explosive allegations attributed to former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon. President Trump's team is now threatening legal action against Bannon and the author of an explosive forthcoming book. ABC's Arlette Saenz reports from Washington.
President Trump's lawyer is threatening legal action against the man who once was one of the president's closest advisors. Attorneys for the president sent former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon a cease and desist letter after he made what they describe as disparaging comments about the president and his family. In an explosive new book, Bannon is quoted using the words treasonous and unpatriotic to describe a Trump Tower meeting between Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, campaign chair Paul Manafort, and a Russian lawyer promising dirt on Hillary Clinton. He's quoted saying special counsel Robert Mueller's team will crack Don Jr. like an egg on national TV.
This is absolutely ridiculous that he would make a statement like that. If he made the statement, there's nobody less treasonous than Don Jr.
The president snapped back. In a scathing statement, he said, quote, Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind.
I think furious, disgusted would probably certainly fit when you make such outrageous claims.
Despite the rebuke, Bannon is standing by his former boss, telling listeners on Sirius XM's Breitbart News Radio,
nothing will ever come between us and President Trump and his agenda. Don't worry about that.
The explosive new book, Fire and Fury, by veteran journalist Michael Wolff, hasn't even been released yet. The president's lawyer sent a letter to Wolff and his publisher demanding they cease and desist further publication and release of the book. Arlette Saenz, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump also speaking out after dissolving his voter fraud commission. He took to Twitter this morning and said many states refuse to give him data for the 2016 election and claims the system is rigged. Critics blasted the commission from its launch, calling it a misguided step to solve a problem that didn't even exist. In a statement, the White House said dissolving the commission would avoid, quote, endless legal battles at taxpayer expense, adding that the president has asked the Department of Homeland Security to determine any future action. Here's something you don't see every day. Someone in St. Johns County in North Florida recently found a cannonball from the Civil War. The bomb squad determined it's actually an 8-inch mortar from the Civil War era. Officials are now analyzing to see if it could still explode. Thieves in Venice, Italy swiped 2 pieces of jewelry owned by a Qatari prince. The stolen pieces were part of an exhibition of the prince's items being displayed at a Venice palace. Police say the pieces in question are a pair of earrings and a brooch made of diamonds, gold, and platinum. Unclear how much the stolen items are worth, but it's probably considerable. Police in Venice say they hope to solve the case as soon as possible. Time to get back to the kitchen and check in again with ABC 7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher. Judy?
All right, so we have a little truffle butter and oil. We have sauteed the zucchini and the mushrooms just a little bit and add a little chicken stock. Like I said earlier, by all means, if you want to keep it vegetarian, just make sure that you use the vegetable stock. So there, we're going to take this beautiful pasta from Peperonata Pasta, put it right into the pan. Al dente means to the bite, and that's how you want to cook it, so really read the labels. This, after I boiled it, brought the boil back, it was just 3 minutes more to cook. So now let's get into the flavor. Here's the truffle paste. Now these things get a little pricey, so you know, I would say about 1/3 of a jar is going to give me the right balance of the flavor that I want in this dish. I also don't want it so intense. I've been at some restaurants, even in Italy, where it's been like truffle on truffle on truffle. So that's a bit much. We have the peas. The last thing I want to do towards the end is add arugula. I like the peppery bite of arugula. By all means, you can use chopped kale. Just make sure you've taken the ribs out of the kale so it doesn't get that stalk type of taste and bite to it. So, oh, there we go. See how simple this is? This is just going to be perfect. Now, we'll go ahead and add a little more truffle butter just to get that all blended together and re-season with salt and pepper. Whenever you use greens, they tend to take sop up the flavor of something like salt and pepper because they have nothing attached to them, and you want to keep that great flavor going. So, a little more chicken stock. I'm just watching it. If you can look at my pan, see how on the bottom it's a little bit dry? That just means we need a little bit of that. Now, to finish it off, once it comes off the burner, I'm going to simply toss it with a little Parmesan cheese, not too much, just a little bit, and then I'm going to garnish it with fresh mint leaves. So come back in just a minute and I will be ready to serve.
About every 3 minutes in America, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Light the Night brings together survivors and supporters to bring light to the darkness of cancer and to help fund life-saving research. Our goal is a world without blood cancers, and we're lighting the path to cures. The discoveries made in blood cancer research have led to breakthrough treatments for many cancers and other serious diseases. Help defeat the darkness of cancer. Join Light the Night today.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny'd been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC 7, weekdays starting at 5. Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
53-degree air temperature, a little bit of cloud cover out there right now. Dew point value coming in at 36, and north-northwest wind at 10. That 53-degree air temperature is a little bit warmer than it was 24 hours ago, and I think we'll top off the day pretty similar to where we were, maybe a degree or two warmer than we were 24 hours ago. And tonight, I think will be similar to this morning as well, maybe even just a little bit cooler. So the beat goes on across the Suncoast with this cold weather snap. We're in it. We're going to stay in it for about 2 more days until we start to warm up just a little bit. Across the region, Titan radar looking pretty good. There's nothing here that gives us too much in the way of any kind of concern. Don't see anything in the way of any kind of rainfall contained within the cloud cover that we have around us. And here is that storm system wrapping up and producing a whole lot of snow from Maine, well, actually from New Brunswick, all the way down toward the mid-Atlantic. And some of the snowfall totals have been pretty impressive, over 7 inches thus far, and I think we'll probably see even more than that in the higher elevations of Maine. If you look at all of the reports of snowfall and high winds, it's just really impressive all along the coastline just how much impact this storm has had and will continue to have. As far as the total accumulations go, the latest computer models continue to suggest that Adirondacks in Maine and the coastal regions of Maine, Boston, are going to see the most snow. They'll probably see anywhere from a foot to the high elevations, 2 feet of snow perhaps, as this storm system winds up and heads up into the Canadian Maritimes. Otherwise, areas like New York and Washington probably coming in at a half a foot to maybe a foot at some places, but mostly around the half-foot mark, 8 inches, something like that. The area of low pressure continues to rapidly move off to the north and to the east as it intensifies. This will be out of here by overnight tonight. It'll be gone tomorrow morning. History. This won't be on our maps. But the high pressure ridge back behind it and the cold front sinking south, that little bit of another next shot of Canadian air, settles into the deep south, and the high pressure ridge then directs those winds out of the north and keeps us in that cold air drainage for another couple of days. The winds will probably even shift a little bit more over the next 24 hours to the northeast, and that should keep the cloud cover reduced a little bit from the northwest direction that they are currently in. So 2 more cold days. Freeze warning is up again tonight for areas east of the interstate, and then it'll be warmer on Sunday, and we'll start that warming trend that'll probably carry on for a couple of weeks anyway, it looks like. As far as the futurecast goes, look for a little less cloud cover during the overnight tonight, and then probably a few clouds coming through on Saturday. As far as beach and boating goes, still windy out there. Northwest wind forecasted about 15 knots. Giving you a moderate chop. And for the next 2 days, warm during the day. Well, I wouldn't say warm, but at least comfortable-ish during the day with a lot of sunshine around. And then at night, just cold. Temperatures probably freezing in many, many locations. We start to warm up over the weekend, and by next week, we are back to our average temps with a chance of rain. Back to you, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. A gender pay lawsuit seeking class action status against Google is being revised, adding 2 more complaints. The revision faults the company for asking new hires about their prior salary, a practice now banned in California. The 4 women named in the suit allege they were underpaid by Google compared to their male counterparts. Google is disputing the charges. A huge warning about the chips in your computers and smartphones. Researchers say 2 major flaws in those computer chips could leave billions of devices vulnerable to security issues. Researchers say almost every computing system is affected by these flaws, and they can allow attackers to read sensitive data stored in a device's memory, such as passwords. A U.S. government-backed body says the chips need to be replaced to completely fix the problems. Amazon's latest patent hints at what it might be like to get dressed in the future. On Tuesday, the tech giant was granted a patent for a blended reality mirror, which could superimpose virtual clothing onto your reflection. It would also be capable of placing you in a virtual scene, like a beach or a restaurant, to match an outfit with the occasion. According to the patent, the mirror would use a combination of mirrors, lights, projectors, displays, and cameras to project the image of a certain setting onto the display. Not clear whether the mirror is currently in development at Amazon, but it hints at what the company is working on. Nissan engineers are hoping to improve human driving cars instead of self-driving cars by using the human brain. They're researching technology that uses brainwave sensors to detect what a driver intends to do in the next fraction of a second. The so-called brain-to-vehicle technology could shorten reaction times. The sensors could detect, for example, the driver's intention to slam on the brakes. The brakes could then be applied immediately, even before the driver's foot has touched the brake pedal. Nissan says it hopes to have some version of this technology ready for real-world use in about 5 to 10 years. Well, if you like your food fast and cheap, this next story is for you. The price battle is now heating up between fast food chains. McDonald's, Taco Bell, Subway, and more have all come out with low-cost specials lately. Reporter Jade Hernandez shows us why.
It's 2018 and looks like just the beginning of the value menu wars. Fast food chains will now serve up breakfast, lunch, or dinner for just a few bucks.
It's always good to have that kind of competition.
A driving force in the market, McDonald's with the new $1, $2, or $3 menu, giving customers a choice from a $1 McChicken sandwich and any size drink to a $3 Happy Meal or triple cheeseburger. And Taco Bell is doing its best to entice customers with new creations at rock bottom prices. Up front and center, the $1 Stacker, a quesadilla-like meat and cheese sandwich on its $1 all-day menu. Nick Tong tried it this afternoon.
I'm always willing to try something new. I'm always looking to see what's out there.
And lucky for Nick and his buddies, the chain plans to add $1 nacho fries with bold Mexican seasoning and a side of warm nacho cheese.
I don't want to spend like $15 on lunch every day, but yeah, it's also got to have some sort of appeal.
Now, Mickey D's and Taco Bell might not have the healthiest choices for your money, but Subway is hoping to keep you on its side by bringing back its $5 footlong for a penny less. And Subway seems to have some loyalists who love seeing the deal reemerge.
It feels pretty good because, you know, trying to save a buck now that it's the new year, so helps out.
I assume everyone always goes to Subway, especially for like lunch and like businesses and stuff.
Jade Hernandez reporting. Weight Watchers is hoping a new endorsement could fatten its stock portfolio. Global pop music star DJ Khaled has signed on to be a social media ambassador for the company. He says he's lost 20 pounds on the program so far and is sharing his success with his millions of followers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Weight Watchers stock rose more than 6% on Tuesday. Oprah Winfrey bought a 10% stock in the company back in 2015. That has helped. The company says DJ Khaled will work with a coach and use its mobile app to keep track of his health and fitness goals. Another day and two huge lottery jackpots are now breaking records. There was no grand prize winner in Tuesday's Mega Millions drawing. This is the 23rd straight drawing without a jackpot winner. There was also no big winner in last night's Powerball jackpot as well. The $361 million Mega Millions jackpot will grow to $418 million for the Friday drawing. The competing Powerball jackpot now up to $550 million for Saturday's drawing. This is the first time in history both competing lotteries are over the $400 million mark now, even though no one won the Powerball last night. Still to come in your Suncoast News, Justin Timberlake surprising his fans before his Super Bowl appearance when he's set to release his new album. Stay with us.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. AndServices.com, AndServices.com.
WWSB ABC7 is an equal opportunity employer, and we're looking for qualified people to join our dynamic team. For a list of current openings and to apply online, visit www.mysuncoast.com/contact/employment. If you're a motivated team player and you want a rewarding career in a fun, fast-paced working environment, WWSB ABC7 could be the perfect fit for you. Check out our list of openings now.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
There's nothing like this trail in Alabama. It just goes from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state. We see all kind of different terrains, great value, great fun. We've been coming for 18 years. We started off with a group of 8, grew to 12, and grew to 16. And we love it because where else can you get world-class golf courses with world-class accommodations? To be able to play these type of courses in this environment, and the difficulty keeps us coming back over and over and over again.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 70.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator, there was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs, stop the crimes.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. AndServices.com, AndServices.com.
So here we have it, truffle pasta. Simple, didn't cost you hundreds if not thousands of dollars from the Truffle Festival, because we brought together the fresh pepperonata pasta, and we used truffle butter, truffle paste, and just a drizzle, and I mean a teeny drizzle on top. I've also put on top just a dollop of ricotta cheese, which is going to marry well with the rotolo that I picked up from Peperonata Pasta, kind of like that calzone I told you about, which is a nice way to start, and you can serve it with a little extra ricotta or sauce. Zucchini, mushrooms, the flavors are just so abundant. Now you can get this recipe by going on www.mysuncoast.com. Click on the recipes, you'll see the videos, and don't forget on Wednesdays you can sign up for our weekly culinary newsletter. Get all the new restaurant news, what's happening around town, what we're eating, and you can enter to win a $50 gift card. So while I tuck into some truffle-y pasta, I'm going to send it back to you.
Okay, Judy, thank you so much. Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift had the top albums of 2017, but sales suffered over the year. Overall, album sales were down about 15% from 2016. That's according to an industry report by BuzzAngle Music. This while streaming saw explosive growth. Audio streams were up just over 50% from the year before. Another bright spot, get this, vinyl and cassette sales are up again big time, although they are still a small piece of the pie. Justin Timberlake has announced a new album called Man of the Woods coming out next month. Timberlake says in a video released Tuesday, the album is inspired by his son, wife, and family, but more than anything, where he's from. The album will come out 2 days before Timberlake's Super Bowl halftime show. Two of television's toughest leading ladies are set to share the small screen for the first time. ABC confirms that its shows Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder will both feature crossover episodes this season. Show stars Viola Davis and Kerry Washington broke the news on their social media accounts, each posting pictures on the opposites' sets. So look forward to that. Good idea.
Two very popular shows.
Yeah, so 2 more cold nights ahead of us, huh?
Yeah, if you're going to cover your plants, go ahead and do it.
Stay warm.
My name is Stefan Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been arrested in the state of Florida, the state attorney's office is already working on your prosecution. It's time to work on your defense. So give us a call. We've got your back.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.